Welcome to the Husband vs Wife Bake Off 2025. This features two contestants who'll go head to head, both making the same thing, before they present it to a mystery judge. Right, let's get into it.
Hello everyone and welcome to my kitchen. I am Julie Morris and today I am taking part in the Husband-Wife Bake Off. I've taken part in a few Bake Off competitions before. I've baked fruit scones, chocolate chip muffins and marble cake. But unfortunately I'm yet to be the winner of one of these competitions.
Hello, my name's Vaughan Morris and I'm taking part in the Husband-Wife Bake Off. I've taken part in a number of competitions. Two that I've recently won actually. One was a father-son bake off in which I baked a fantastic chocolate cake, beating my son into second place. And I've also taken part in a cook-off where I baked from scratch a pizza, which was absolutely delicious, and that won me a trophy as well.
Now both competitors have introduced themselves, it's time to find out what they're making.
So today we are baking red velvet cake. That's the chosen bake for this competition.
Today I shall be baking a red velvet cake.
The contestants are going to be making a red velvet cake for the mystery judge. The cake has to have a balance of flavours and textures, achieved through specific ingredients and techniques. It needs to have buttermilk, a touch of cocoa, vinegar, and a generous cream cheese frosting. Let's see how they do.
And here we have all the ingredients to make the cake and the frosting.
They are my ingredients for the day.
Julie starts off with preheating the oven, greasing and lining the tin, and getting her mixer ready.
Just putting the whisks into the food mixer. The food mixer's all set up, ready to go, and we might need some scales just to weigh a few things out.
Right, here we go. 250 grams of plain flour.
Vaughan begins to add all the dry ingredients which will make up the sponge to his glass bowl.
2 teaspoons of baking powder.
250 grams of butter. Now we need 300 grams of caster sugar. 1, 2, right, that's just about 300 grams of caster sugar. Tip that into the bowl. There we go. Right, it seems to be taking quite a while to get the mixture to be light and fluffy. I think perhaps it was because the butter was quite hard when it went in. Perhaps I should have softened it up. Anyway, we'll carry on and soon it will be light and fluffy.
Right, then we need bicarbonate of soda, which we need 1 teaspoon. 250 grams of this beauty. My trusty scissors. And sugar into the bowl. Just gotta mix it all together.
Both contestants are well underway with the bake now, but one runs into a small issue.
Right, I've had a bit of a disaster, I'm afraid, because my food mixer is just packed up halfway through my baking. So I'm just going to pop somewhere and borrow somebody else's. Wow, I can't believe it. I've had that food mixer since the 1970s and it's never let me down. But luckily I know somewhere where we can borrow a perfectly good food mixer.
While Julie is en route searching for a new food mixer, Vaughan is adding his buttermilk, vanilla extract and the vital ingredient, red food colouring, to his bake.
1 tablespoon. Oh, crikey. Oh. Then we need 100 millilitres of water. Goodness me, what on earth am I making here? My history of baking is pretty non-existent actually. I did help my mum do flapjacks and shortbread a few years ago. This is really my second attempt at a cake. So here goes. What could go wrong?
Alright, see a bit later. Right, now let's get back to the kitchen.
Now Julie had got hold of a new working mixer, she heads back to the kitchen to continue with her sponge.
We're back with a new food mixer, so let's give that a go. That's going in the bin. Right, here we go then. And I've obviously been baking all my life. I probably started when I was about 10 years old. So I've made lots of cakes, buns. So I think I'm a bit of an expert in this field. My food mixer is just packed up. Hopefully I won't break this. And obviously my husband has only just taken up baking in the last year. So with all that experience behind me, I don't think it's going to be a competition really. How am I going to win this competition?
So anyway, the recipe says 2 large eggs, but I've got medium eggs, so we're going to use 3 medium eggs.
Right, next we're going to add the eggs. 1.
Today I'm going to be baking a red velvet cake. I don't know too much about it, but I am aware that it's going to have to be red for a start. I think that's probably one of the main criteria, so that's my main concern. And I imagine, like my chocolate cake, be nice and light and fluffy on the outside, with a beautiful frosting, which I'm sure that the judge will find absolutely perfect. What could go wrong? And it goes. Oh, look at that.
With both sponges underway, Julie adds the magic ingredient, the red food colouring, to her magic bowl, followed by some vanilla extract, a quick stir, some flour, another mix, and then a handful more ingredients.
And now we need 1 teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda. Right, now we're going to divide the mixture between the 2 cake tins.
Julie then tips the mixture into her 2 tins and puts them both in the oven.
Right, you can see it's all smoothed out in the tins, and we're going to place it in the oven for 40 minutes. I've actually never baked a red velvet cake before, but I've been studying a few recipes and I'm quite confident. I know my cakes are usually of a good standard, and obviously a red velvet cake needs to be light and obviously red in colour to rise nicely, and I shall finish with a lovely icing to decorate the cake. Right, now we're going to clear up this mess, and when we've done that we're going to do the filling. So I'll just clear up the mess and then we'll be back.
Julie tidies up her workstation as Vaughan continues to mix all his sponge ingredients. Very red, I must say.
Right, these are the tins, and I've now got to equally divide this mess. Voila! It looks a little bit runny to me. It doesn't really look like a sponge mix, but we shall see what happens.
Now both competitors are on the buttercream. Both have completed their sponges in style and are set to make very different buttercreams. Julie's buttercream will consist of cream cheese, whereas Vaughan's will consist of mascarpone. They will both be using other standard ingredients such as butter, icing sugar and vanilla extract.
Well, after that stressful bake for the chocolate cake, because the food mixer packed up and we had to go and borrow another one, it's all baking in the oven at the moment, and while that's baking we're going to do the filling. So that's what we're going to do now.
Right, we've got 250 grams of butter into a large bowl. Is that a large bowl? Someone's bleeding in here, look. I'll cut myself. Now we've got a big bowl. Okay? Soft butter. Hopefully that's softened up a bit now. 250 grams of softened butter. Today I'm up against my wife. Her baking skills aren't the best, I'd say. She has tried, bless her, over the years. But sometimes her cakes are either hard on the outside, a bit soft, a bit moist on the inside. So they're not the best. So I don't think the competition is going to be that great, to be honest with you.
Right, and for the icing we're going to use 100 grams of butter. 375 grams of icing sugar. Lots of icing sugar. Whoa.
And 2 tablespoons of vanilla extract, all the way from Madagascar, specially shipped into Morrison's.
The recipe I've chosen for my red velvet cake is one baked by Nadia Hussein. And for those of you who don't know who Nadia is, she actually won the Bake Off in 2015 and has had a successful career since then baking. So I'm sure this is going to be a top recipe.
Julie is using Nadia Hussein's recipe and Vaughan is using Mary Berry's recipe.
Mary Berry, who is a legend. I wish I'd have married her. Anyway.
With a couple of the standard ingredients already in Julie's buttercream, she then adds the cream cheese.
Make the icing. Put the butter in the bowl. Here we go. Right, and what does it say? Add the soft cheese. 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Spoonful of that. The rest of the icing sugar. All that in. Lovely. And now we're going to whisk it all in.
300 grams of icing sugar. Right, here we go. Oh, God, it's some clownies, isn't it?
Now it's time for Vaughan to add his special ingredient into his buttercream, the mascarpone.
Next we need is 250 grams of mascarpone. This has been flown all the way from Italy to Morrison's, especially for this cake. And I'd like to thank Morrison's again for their assistance with this cake.
He now incorporates the mascarpone into his buttercream. Soon enough, the cakes are ready.
Whoa. That needs loads more time, yeah.
As the cakes need a bit more time in the oven, he puts them back in for a few more minutes.
5 minutes.
Just going to check the cake now because it's 35 minutes. So I know it said 40, but I just want to make sure it's not burning or anything.
Now, Julie checks her cakes and they're ready 5 minutes before Nadia thought they might be.
I've just looked at the recipe and you get it out of the oven, which there it is. Leave it there for 10 minutes and then put it onto a cooling rack. So that's what we're going to do.
I've been made aware that the judge on this competition is Sarah. And I would imagine she's got very good taste, so I think that there's no doubt that she will judge me as winner.
Right, the judge for this competition is a new judge to baking competitions, and the judge is Sarah. Now Sarah is a very good cook herself and very good at baking cakes, so I'm sure she'll realise, or she'll soon realise, which is the better cake.
That's all I can really say. Well, the cakes are now out of the oven. The oven's turned off. We're now going to give them some time to cool, I think 10 minutes before we can then tip them out of their trays, I think.
Once Vaughan's cakes are out of the oven, he waits for them to cool before slicing them and adding his freshly made buttercream.
Just making the cake level. Right, so this bit we're going to use to decorate the cake. We're going to ice the cake. There we go, this is the icing that we made earlier.
Both teams are now building the cake. Julie is putting her buttercream on the inside and outside of her creation, whereas Vaughan is just putting his inside with a bit of piping round the edge.
Like that. And now we're going to ice the whole thing.
Right, let's put this on the babe on the top. That looks great. We are now piping this frosting onto the top of the cake.
Put these crumbs around the edge of the cake.
Now the competitors have officially completed their red velvet cakes. Whoop whoop! Let's see what they've got to say for themselves.
Right, and here we have the final product. This is my red velvet bake, and I'll tell you what, I am extremely pleased with it. There was a lot of things that went wrong with the bake, so I wasn't expecting it to turn out as good as this. We had a bit of a hiccup because the food mixer actually packed up, so in the middle of the bake we had to go and borrow somebody else's, but we came back, rescued the situation, and wow, look at this. I can't wait to hear the judges' comments.
Right, well this is the finished article, and I would say this is a winner. Slightly red, rather red, nicely finished off, looks, well hopefully, it will taste as good as it looks. I think that's a winner. Bring it on.
How can somebody beat this cake?
Now both competitors have completed their creations, it's time for the mystery judge to get judging. But first, we need to meet them. Hello, my name's Sarah and I'm going to be the judge of this very prestigious competition, and I'm going to be tasting both red velvet cakes and giving my opinion on things such as texture, presentation and the all-important taste. Bring it on. Well, this is the first red velvet cake that I've got to have a look at and judge. Looking at it, it looks delicious. It looks a nice height and it's perfectly round. And then it looks like there's some delicious crumb on the outside. So yes, let's see how it cuts.
How can somebody beat this cake? I think I'm a bit of an expert in this field. She'll realise, or she'll soon realise, which is the better cake.
Very tasty. Very tasty indeed. A success. I'd give it 9 out of 10 for presentation. I think it looks beautiful, especially when it's cut. It's perfect inside. I'd give it a solid 8 out of 10. Just the right ratios of sponge to cream. So you don't get too much sponge, so it's not claddy. And you don't get too much cream, so it's not sickly. It's a perfect combo. The judge has given Julie's red velvet cake some high points, but it all depends on what she gives the next one. Well, let's have a look at this. This is rather exciting to look at, isn't it? I love the decoration. I love the icing on the top. It's very neat and very even. Very tasty. Nice amount of cream inside. Sponge is light. For presentation, I would probably give it well, unfortunately we cannot reveal what 2 scores the judge gave for Vaughan's red velvet cake, but the judge did seem equally amazed with both bakes. Now it's time for the exciting part where everyone comes together and the winner is announced and crowned. The winner will receive a trophy with their name and the name of the show on. How cool is that? Now, let's get into it. Well, you'll be glad to know that now is the time. The judging has been done and the points have been added up. And I've now, in this parcel, got a trophy to award to the winner, whose cake was delicious. But both cakes were delicious, and it was only a very narrow margin that separated the 2 cakes. Okay, so what I'd like you to do for the awarding of the trophy, to say who has won the bake-off, I'd like you to close your eyes, and I'm going to place the trophy in the hands of the winning contestant.
Close your eyes.
Close your eyes.
Yes, my eyes are closed.
Are your hands out?
Yes.
I'm yet to be the winner of one of these competitions.
Obviously I can't wait to win, because I'll go alongside my other trophy.
I've presented the winner of this year's Husband and Wife Bake Off. It is Vaughan Morris.
No, not again.
Shake hands.
Well done.
Well done, well done.
Thank you very much.
Well done.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Well, I'd like to say that I'm over the moon on having received this trophy and having won the competition. But to be fair, I'm not surprised because I thought it was an extremely good cake, and this is now 3 out of 3 for me, so I'm very happy. Thank you very much.
I'm extremely disappointed because, in all honesty, I tasted both cakes, and not being biased or a sore loser, but I genuinely thought mine had the edge over the winners. He did do a good cake, so well done to the winner.
Well, Vaughan has now been crowned the winner of the Husband and Wife Bake Off 2025. This show has been such an enjoyable and unique experience, one that the contestants certainly won't forget. It's been an absolute pleasure being your narrator and judge, and I really hope all of you enjoyed watching the show as much as we enjoyed making it. Now, roll the credits.